Hello friends, Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff. Today we are back on the painting table. I meant to get back to it a little sooner and then spilled a bunch of LaCroix all over my keyboard and half the thing didn't work. You know those kinds of days where you're like, this'll technically work, but if a single thing goes wrong, I'm hosed. That's pretty much what my experience with this computer has been like. I don't take chances anymore because I just end up getting frustrated when things don't work. So I'm like, before I do a little pre-game rundown, like, you cool, computer? Computer sometimes is like, nah, bro. Okay, so today we are continuing speed batch painting up. These are the hunting pack from Parabellum, and really we're just trying to get some base colors on them. And that's really about it. I'm just having some fun color contrasts, I guess, to the contrast colors. That's a fun sentence. That we laid down last time. Basically, I wanted to block them all out with solid colors to make it very quick. That's why they look like Skittles. And then we'll go back and kind of fill in some detail and color as we go. So I got that for the skin stuff. And I'm just picking out good colors that will pop off of what I picked before. So let's see. Yeah, we can use McCrag blue. Get that pink. Let me grab let's grab it orange. And I don't know, I just want to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to have all different kinds of stuff for these guys. And give me some black gray. Perfect. A lot of them are just going to have stripes and spots and stuff like that because I want to keep it pretty simple. Let's see. Let me pop out the chat so I can actually see it on my screen. Everybody, how you doing? Let me know if you can hear and see me okay. I got Maleficent Ruler. Love the name. Afternoon. Hope you're well. Been loving the Carnival content. Looking forward to more. Nice. Thank you. Yes, it is a game that I have become quite smitten with. And, yeah, hope to see good things from them. Hi, Doug. Nice to see you live. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Hans. I do appreciate it. I had a little bit of trouble going back into the flow since Adepticon, but I think that's pretty common, actually. I think a lot of creators, I mean, I know from his most recent video, Vince said that he got COVID at Adepticon, and unfortunately we never bumped into each other because there was an entire section of Adepticon that I did not know was part of the convention, so it just didn't go that way. And so I missed pretty much all of the AOS stuff that was happening that wasn't Youngbloods, Dawnbringers, or Team Doubles or whatever. Lizards riding dinos? Nope, these are orcs riding dinos because we are painting up some Quadroon. But very close. Oh. But hey, you know what? While you brought it up, let's talk about it. What's everyone's thoughts on the new Seraphon? I have been largely uninterested in AOS for some time. The hobby batteries were certainly partially restored at Adepticon for sure, seeing how much work some of those folks put into their factions. But like as a game system, I've been very meh on AOS in the face of other things like Conquest, but the Seraphon, they look terrific. They really do. I'm just going to take the exact same thing I did before where I have my colors lined up and I just pick one dude and add that color. We're doing the exact same thing here. But yeah, their previews for the Seraphon and that kind of stuff have definitely made me stop and be like, Am I doing this? Am I doing a Seraphon army right now? So I'm considering it. It'll be the first AOS project I've done in a long time, actually. It feels like a long time. Probably about a year and a half. Seraphon are my army. Looking forward to them. Been collecting Lizardmen for over 20 years now. Nice! Okay, a duck. Popping in to ask what I hope isn't an annoying question. No questions are annoying. We're good. Are AOS lore videos on the back burner for the time being, or are you moving away from doing those? Great question. Well, I definitely took a pause because I realized I was just not having fun anymore. Like, I don't particularly care for Games Workshop's business model, although I love their intellectual properties. By that I mean I felt like they were sending me battle tomes that just got progressively more copy-paste. And on my channel I talk about stuff I like, and there was nothing I liked in a lot of those more recent 3rd edition ones where I was like, you didn't add anything to the conversation. I don't know, it didn't feel great. They felt like, you know, if you're a Lumineth player, you're already $150 in books alone. That's a lot. I think that's a lot. Books that are in 2 out of the 3 of them are outdated. I just didn't see, like, I couldn't speak honestly about them in a positive way, and as my channel always is, I talk about stuff I like. Nothing was being very exciting for the moment. Like I said, I did go to Acon to get some of my hobby flavor back, but I just felt like, I don't know, I stood in a room, like a whole convention of people doing nothing but wargaming, and was shocked at the number of tables, games, and communities that all seemed way cool. Like I wanted to be a part of them, not just Games Workshop stuff. Or rather, that Games Workshop has a lot of areas of improvement, where other companies are seizing the day. They're carping that diem, filling in those gaps. But yeah, no, it's certainly not an annoying question. I was taking a content break from AOS. Whenever I feel inspired, I will pick it back up again. I do not have a arbitrary, like, I'm done with it for the year or anything like that. Just whenever I feel like it. But they haven't released a new story for that game since Thondia, right? So please someone correct me if I'm wrong, because I honestly, like, when I checked out of AOS, I didn't realize how tenuous my thread to the GW news sphere was, because the second I stopped caring, I lost sight of everything. So to my knowledge, aside from a couple Black Library books, there hasn't really been anything advancing in AOS, so I also don't feel like I'm behind. You know, if they released a campaign series, like, those are my thing. I love campaign series. I make no qualms about that whenever I record them. And it's just like, give me something with some substance, something to stick my teeth into. All of this buying a whole battle tome so that I can read the single updated paragraph that I got really frustrating for a bit. So, I don't know. So, yes and no to your question. I'm personally taking a break, but there's no reason. I just wanted to not lose my enthusiasm, you know? How many content creators do you know keep doing a thing because they pursue numbers, and at the end of the day, they're like, I hate this. And then their channels turn to being negative, and it's like, that's not what 2+ stuff is about. Appreciate the response. Hopefully a 40k 10th edition does well in bringing in new players. They'll apply the same. Yeah. Yeah, you know, I mean, but I'm holding my breath because, yeah, I don't know. We live in the era where people just need to lie to their investors enough to sell the idea to them, not the actual public. And that's how we get stuff like Bethesda, Todd Howard be like, it just works, and like, at a company that is renowned for games that don't work. to the consumer base, but to, they look great on paper to the shareholders, that kind of stuff. That's where you get those things. It's like, I'm hopeful about the new 40K. I'll be honest, it's the most interested I've been in 40K in a long time. Addressing those issues, I think like Thanos snapped any interest I have in current 40K away. Like, oh, you mean it doesn't have to be like this? Okay. I mean, I already knew that because I play a lot of non-GW games, right, that have free rules, people who embrace those things earlier, but it's just, you want to talk about no motivation to paint 40K stuff? Right now. When you don't know what anything is. And it's like, well, odd time to be a guard player. You just got your book, and then they're like, JK. And I had a guard army for a time. I was actually going to do it, and then I realized the painting project that I had in my mind was far too grand in scale for what I was able to do schedule-wise. So I was like, actually, I'll skip that. But I want to do something else, and so I've been thinking about that. I don't know. They need to play, but also need if you're super into keeping up. Yeah, exactly. Hype comes and goes. It's okay. Exactly. And, that's why I had someone reach out to me and be like, well, shouldn't you make an announcement that you're not talking about this? And I was like, no, because it'll come back. It'll be fun. I'm not like done talking about AOS. Games Workshop is always the industry leader. But it's like, at a certain point, when people accuse me of being a fanboy, right, no matter what Games Workshop sends me, I give them a positive review. I've stopped trying to argue those claims because it just doesn't matter what I say anymore. But anyway, when those claims come, it's like, when I tell people, I only talk about things that I like, it's received as a rather trite, see, I'm not lying, I actually like this stuff. And then the flip side is, well, why aren't you talking about this? It's like, because it sucks. Because it sucks. Yeah, I don't need to tell people it sucks. I think maybe I've given like 1 or 2 negative reviews in all of 2+ Tough history. And one of those was the Thondia set that just came out recently because I was like, you guys let us down by locking up the Incarnate. I don't know. That's all. But the point is, trying different things, exploring, and just waiting for my enthusiasm to naturally come back. That's why I never sold the Orcs. I still have my Bone Splitters. And I'll tell you, I do think, because they are definitely one of those factions, like I can see there will come a day, without question, that their army will go away. It is. That is just the simple truth. But that being said, until such time, I'm gonna have a ton of fun with them, and I could, if I wanted to, expand into, Cruel Boys, back into Iron Jaws, whatever I want to do to make sure that I always have a playable army. But to be honest, I kind of like Orcs for the Savage Orc idea. But that's kind of where I get into those ideas of like, oh, maybe I could do a Seraphon army, just kind of keep options and ideas open, keep some creativity flowing. AOS has been so hard to keep track of for me as of late. Rely on my friends to update me. I honestly, Davis, we've chatted personally, so I can speak like I'm talking to a human rather than an avatar. I appreciate that. I truly, I am out of the loop. When I was at Adepticon, I walked around and I found a few content creators, as I mentioned, for somehow I completely missed the hall where Vince and several other people that I know are, that were all competing. But as I was walking around, I bumped into the host of Combat Phase, podcasts and shows and stuff like that. And I was like, they're like, oh, we want to have you on. It's like, I need to come on to have you explain to me what the heck is going on in Age of Sigmar, because I think I jumped the plot at some point. Like, I just feel like, I don't know. Like, the rules scene has just become crazy and I can't keep up. Popping in to say hi. Hey, buddy. Let's see. Hold on, I'm just following along. There's some comments I fell behind. The only thing that seems highly interesting right now lately is the animated series with Neve Black Talent. Oh, they finally put that out? Okay. They previewed that when they launched Warhammer Plus, so I will go check that out, because that is one that I would absolutely do a review of. I thoroughly enjoyed the first book in that series. Had some creative disagreements with the ending that I would be curious to speak to the author about, but all in all, it was a fantastic book. First Mark, I believe, was what it was called. Me and Kenzie did a review of that. I believe that was when we were still doing the 2+ tomes. It just became very difficult for me to keep up. Now, I'll give you guys a pro tip in case you and I, wherever you are in the world, ever play in real life. Whenever I play very fast melee armies, I always paint the most useless things in the brightest colors. It's because I want you to look at them, not at the orc horde that's racing down the table. When I played War Machine and Hordes, I would have all my distraction units painted like, not highlighter. I mean, they always worked in theme, but the idea was like, do something cool to draw attention, maybe just that way. Yeah, I think the first episode is today, actually. Oh, wow, okay. At least 40k lore is exciting right now. Oh, cool! Arcs of Omen novels have been fun to read. Still trying to paint a Necron army, but I'm always busy. Also, I love these colorful DINOS. Thank you! Yes, I'm going to bring the colors down a smidge with some brown washes, but yeah, we're getting there. Okay, let's see. Got a few people popping in and say hi. Maleficent Ruler. I've mostly been playing Infinity recently. AOS has been on the back burner. Seraphon will tempt me back for a while. Yeah. I could see that. I'm trying to think, how do I feel about 40k lore? I have not super kept up with it. I know they made a big deal about the lion has back, which is cool. I love whenever a Primarch gets released, because I love hearing both sides, all the grabbling. And I'm just really glad that the Dark Angels got some love. I felt like all those, I mean, this is a total side thing, like, I did follow 40k very acutely when 8th launched, and then 9th. You know, and then I kind of fell behind on some of the books like that, but I noticed the trends in the community of whenever somebody got a Primarch, there was just like a mix of like, they should be dead. They're better as dead remembered heroes rather than we shouldn't be able to play these characters. They're too big, too large for life. And it's like, man, if they can put a price tag on it, they're going to sell it. Which might be a bit more cynical than Games Workshop actually is, but that, you know, I mean, they didn't die. They exist in the story. Why wouldn't they make a model of it and make some money? Let's see. You should pop in and play AOS sometime. We have some newer players. Okay, I will do that. Yes, if you don't know, he's a local gentleman. I should. Can I level with you? At the end of the day, I just want to be on the couch with my wife, hanging out, possibly with my cats. Anymore, I've just become this old British lady. I don't know what it is. It's just been the last, since the pandemic, I suppose, but let's see. A good morning from the States. Back to the grind. Hey, Chris, take it easy. Hope you have a great day. When I went to visit Jack, he had to help me with my battle plans and new missions. Now the FAQ just came out and I have no clue. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. The impermanence of rules and balance, and when they got into the seasons of war where, like, some months there was buffs to certain units and other months there weren't, and it was a lot for me. Actually where I really checked out with AOS was right after, and this has nothing to do with them, was that right after Vault Wars. And the reason was because it occurred to me and my buddy Rob, who I went down with at the same time, like, we hadn't played games since then. And not only have we not played games since Vault Wars, but the rules have been updated like 2 to 3 times since we did. And it's like, we have not been out of the game that long, like this long, to warrant, whether they're free digital downloads or not is kind of not the point. But you are asking much. Let's see. Sounds like Orc logic. Like, paint the good part of the army purple so the opponents can't see it. Well, my Orc logic here is, okay. Tell me if this sounds power gamey. It was entirely lighthearted when we had the discussion about power gaming back. This is like maybe 11 years ago at this point now, when I was like War Machine and Hordes. War Machine and Hordes focused. But, okay. So if I paint my entire army, let's say a black and white monochrome scheme, right? It looks fantastic. Maybe there's some color on the weapons just to get that 3-color minimum. But, like, it's clear that I've put a lot of work in. Everything's very dark, subdued colors. But I have one unit that is hot pink, okay? In the dead center of the board. Now, psychologically, the eye of my opponent will always go to that unit. I, as a player, as a painter, have manufactured a very real in-game inconvenience for my opponent. Their eyes will always be drawn to whatever. Is that a bad move? Is that a poor sportsmanship move? And here's why I asked that question, because the flip side is, I look at these guys, and their role in the army, within the context of the lore, is to be the rushing distraction. So looking like that gives them a physical gameplay element and a tangible one to my opponent that also still reinforces their point in the lore. It's not like I had my big beefcake army be, or unit be, the bright pink one. It's the ones that are meant to draw attention. I'm just throwing that out there. We had this fun discussion about it because there was no consensus. It was just people being like, that's a dick move. It's like, oh, because you're manipulating your opponent. It's not about the rules of the game. It's about what you can get from them. I was like, yeah, but also War Machine and Hordes communities also talked about going on tilt, which is you you do something so crazy to your opponent's army they didn't see coming that it confuses them, and all of a sudden they're scrambling to come up with plans, and that's when they can make bad decisions. It's called going on tilt. So what's the difference between painting my miniatures and that? I think, you know what I mean? Nothing, in my opinion. So it's whatever. Let's see. Oh, Alec, man, thank you so much. This thing just popped up because I'm so far behind on my chat. Hey, Doug, loved your Spire videos. I enjoyed your takes on the faction, and your video has definitely motivated me to paint my 24 Force-grown drones. Thank you so much, buddy. That means the world to me, and I am happy to deliver. Sorry it took so long between recording woes and travel and sickness. It's been a bit. It's been a minute. There's a 2K tournament in Des Moines on the 23rd. So here, okay, a little bit of an insider scoop for anyone listening. My wife and I are actually moving to the Ankeny, Iowa area, the greater Des Moines area, basically, in July. So I will start attending all those events then. Until then, we're a little bit tight on money for moving purposes, so I won't be going. But point is to say, my buddy, if you're local, get ready to see me hanging out at some events. I know the store that I am very excited to hang out a ton in is Game Castle in Ankeny. Florian, hey Doug, hope you're doing well. Have you lost all interest in AOS? Florian, we talked about this earlier, but I'm more than happy to just recap it. I'm just taking a little bit of a palate cleanser break. I feel like, well, to be honest, I feel like Games Workshop is too. Nothing really new has come out for AOS, and I'm just not jazzed about the 3rd edition rule set and or battle tomes, so I'm just taking a little break. And when they release something of substance, pushes anything forward, you better believe I'll cover it, buddy. But I'm actually taking a break because if it is a while before they release anything, I will go back and redo some of my older series, specifically ones like Carriage and Overlords, where I've learned a lot about audio editing in the interim. But it's one of those things, like, it's such a defeating task to feel like, all right, I have a playlist for every single faction, and then they just keep releasing the same books over and over again, and it's like, I don't want to talk about this. I just talked about this, I feel. And that feeling of like, I just did this, isn't true. Some of those books have been out for years. So, what that means is I probably just need to take a little break, and then I can come back at it with fresh eyes. Be the Doug everybody wants. I like how AOS keeps doing rules updates, keeps armies balanced against each other. Alec, man, you're absolutely correct. There are so many positives to it. It's just a matter of what you come to the hobby for. And I'm not advocating that those things go away, because people love them, and I'm so happy for them. For me, I wish there was more of like a, well, kind of like the olden days where you would just buy the core book, your army book, and then you're good to go. I wish there was a format that was like that, of like, I don't know, pure narrative, but even that has its own problems to say, just because that means so many different things to so many different people. I get it. They serve a purpose. They're there for a lot of people, and I'm really happy if you enjoy them. Sincerely. I find them daunting. Because the overwhelming majority of my games have always been what is essentially Garage Hammer. And the advantage of Garage Hammer is you kind of don't need to keep up on a whole lot. You're kind of there or you're not, right? Your army existed or it didn't. That's fair, Impella. Hey! That's a strategy game. Drawing attention is not cheating. That's fair. Makes sense. Glad you are enjoying other things. Do the new previews for 40k 10th edition interest you? It looks way foreign to me. And characters can join squads like in Conquest. I will say, Florian, one thing that 40k has always had over AOS that I think is good is the idea of characters joining units. I don't know if you saw, is there, I saw the article headline was about characters today, but I hadn't had a chance to read it. I was just booting this up. Did they say that characters can now attach themselves to units again? Because I deeply missed that. I just think it's a cool idea, you know? Someone's just like chilling around with their entourage, like... As much as I appreciate the rules aspect of Lookout Sir, which I did, that's a great... -1 is a great buff. It's not the same as, like, these are my personal guard. Every one of them is a Samwise Gamgee who would die for me on a moment's whim. We just finished rewatching Lord of the Rings last night. Hence the Samwise comment. Have to say, I don't think the extended edition is a good version of that film series. I know it's heresy. Sorry, everybody. Sorry I let you down personally, spiritually. Let's see. Oh, look, man, I'm surprised you said you don't like the 3rd edition rules or books, because there haven't been any bad books mechanically. Most books are balanced. Yeah, so... Oh, look, man, you're absolutely right. What I'm saying when I talk about the game is not its balance. I don't have a single problem with its balance. I enjoyed AOS before points. I was about to say like a man. That would have gotten me in trouble. Anyway, so it has nothing to do with the actual balance of them or anything like that. What I mean is when I look at stuff, everybody has their own approach to these things and what their value is. And for me, I felt like the amount of new content in them was not justifying the price. I still don't like Games Workshop's business model of FOMO, with all the limited boxes and stuff like that. There's more to it than just like the books are bad. I agree that it is the most balanced edition with probably the best set of rules in terms of Nurgle feels like Nurgle, right? Khorne, I think the jury's still out, but feels more like Khorne, I think. That kind of stuff where, yeah, the books are fine, but I don't care for the game system. Rolling d6s to hit, to wound, to save, to after save. That's what I'm talking about, the core engine of the game. I'd much rather do Conquest or Necromunda or really anything. Because at least with Necromunda, it's the same system. Hit, wound, save, whatever. But it is scaled down. And when you scale that stuff down, it gets much more manageable. That's what I meant. The books are actually great. I totally agree. Skaven book tactics? Bad. Let's see. Not the Doug we need, but not the Doug we deserve. Any rules questions seem too strong? Yes, look, man. I'm sorry. I just now read your second comment, and I do agree. It's in a very good place if that's what you go to the game for. It's not really what I go to the game for. For me, I am a hobbyist first, and also being able to roll dice and do ridiculous things is a bonus. But if I was more of a, I guess, game centric person, I would, without question, say that this is the best iteration of AOS that has existed. And just so it doesn't sound like I'm all dour, I really have appreciated how well they've communicated and stuff when it comes to those update packs. I know people get really antsy whenever like the date comes and goes or whatever, but like, I don't know. I don't feel like any of their product release windows or promised windows were so egregiously wrong that we demand retribution. Is it Snathius Productions? Hey Doug, long time listener, first time commenter. What dinos are these you're painting? And do you play Middle Earth strategy battle game? I can't believe you just said that about extended editions. Yeah, I think of the wrong time for anyone to enter is when I'm trash talking Lord of the Rings, of course. So first question. These are hunting pack from Parabellum. They're kind of like light skirmish scouts. The orcs in their setting use dinosaurs as like all kinds of stuff. Kind of Flintstones level. A little bit better than that. But, let's see, one second, I'm just looking for a green paint here. Okay. Yeah, they act as the skirmish units for those. I have 2 angry chickens over on the far right of the screen. You can just see them. They're just bonus models that I got at Adepticon. Let's see. Oh, yes, as far as Middle Earth strategy game. No, I took a demo once with my buddy Jeremy, and he really convinced me on it. I like the combat system for that game quite a bit. And, you know, this seems to be a pretty consistent idea, but whenever you go to an event and it's a Lord of the Rings thing, those tables are just some of the most beautiful miniature, just tabletops, just experiences ever. But no, I don't actually play it right now. After having rewatched the films, and now we're going to get to the part where I offend you to your core, I remember Lord of the Rings being cooler. I'm sorry, everybody. I know. Hashtag he's forsaken us. I understand. But, like, for example, and this is something we talked about when it came to the extended edition kind of cuts and stuff like that. I remembered, because I hadn't seen some of them since they came out in theaters. I definitely thought the love story between Aragorn and Arwen was, like, bigger. And now as an adult, I'm like, oh, so they met once and the whole movie she's just sitting around staring off longingly in a random direction thinking of Aragorn? Okay. That's kind of like love. And I guess, I don't know. That's all. Just that kind of stuff. Where it's like, oh, I remember this being much more epic. And I told my wife that, and she had a great idea. It was just like, sometimes scenes that are meant to have a massive impact get lessened when you just add more stuff for the sake of stuff. Like an extended cut. All those things were cut for a reason. Kill your darlings. Let's see. So yes, now that is the treason that is telling you my gripes. Also, I just don't really care for Tolkien's writing style. But I can't mention that in my local game store, otherwise I get an earful every single time. Okay, let's see. The idea is almost all characters have to join units and stay with them. The exception are things like assassins. Oh, cool. I love it. I love it. So characters are functionally now like upgrade type things for units. I like it. Have you ever played Burrows and Badgers? I have not. I have not. A game that kind of makes me think of that. I don't know why, but I did see Moonstone being played a lot at Adepticon, and they looked like they were having a great time. But I know that they have not similar art styles, but in terms of more like the fantastical, fairy-esque nature type deal. No, but what's Badger? What is it? Let me find it again. Burrows and Badgers. I almost said Badgers and Bad Guys, which I'm like, that's a... I don't know how that sequel hasn't been made yet. Just a bunch of badgers with shivs. Let's see. As much as I love Lord of the Rings, it definitely doesn't pass the Bechdel test. Yeah, we definitely had a few conversations like that of like, Eowyn is lauded for being a warrior of Rohan, of like, I am no man, slays the Nazgul, and immediately is like, by the way, you're now shipping up with Faramir. You don't have a say. Why? 'Cause woman. And you did the cool womanly thing of fighting, and now you're going to go back into your little kitchen. It's going to be awesome. You're going to love it. The only reason her acts were so impressive is because there was a male-dominated society that told her she couldn't do it. She actually just wanted to fight like literally any other citizen of Rohan wanted to do. That's all. I'm good. I'm fine. Again, this is all because I'm looking at this now as an adult, and I hadn't watched it since I was a child, so I just didn't pick up on stuff. I'm not trashing Tolkien if that's what you're into. Okay. Oh, they're coming along one color at a time. Okay, wait. Moving hoods. Figure out stopping. Hey, Night Sir Knight, what's up? Is anything more awesome than orcs and elves and dinosaurs? Not much, man. Okay, that's good. Let me see. As much as okay, we read that one. The only time a woman talks to another woman in all three films is when the Rohan mother sushes her daughter. That got me good. Oh, man. Hey, Doug, glad you had a great Adepticon. It was such a great event all around. Yeah, dude. Personally, I like the extended edition films. I totally understand your point, but the extended edition of Return of the King actually gives a resolution to Saruman rather than just leaving him. Yeah, I can't tell you how long our, we'll call it, drunken analysis of Lord of the Rings was sidelined because of how angry we were that Sauron and Saruman. It's like, guy made a whole universe, language, history, still couldn't pick two names that don't sound alike. Okay, that's cool. It's whatever. It's real annoying. Same thing with Arwen, Eowyn. No other sounds in the lexiconum. Not one. Interesting. Okay. Alright, so we're getting there. Just do that in this put upstairs. Let's grab black gray. Here we go. Yep. I'll take the... I want this as thin as possible. We're going to be doing some freehand. I like having my paints. This is mostly water, by the way. I'm not wasting a ton here. Oh yeah, I'm not disparaging Tolkien or anyone likes him. This isn't like a witch hunt for people's beliefs. It was just super funny watching those. Because again, I hadn't seen them since I was a kid. I'm just like, that didn't stand out to me last time. Look at that. Everybody's so creative. I will tell my wife that conversation about the girl and her mom, though. That will give us many laughs. Have you played Root before? I have not played Root. I see the box every once in a while. What kind of game is Root? Just throwing some groovy stripes onto our dino here. Let's see. Oh crap, the Conquest model chicken is this weekend and I haven't finished anything. That's okay. This right here, what you're looking at, is my wave 2. I've been sick and traveling since Adepticon, so have not wanted to paint at all. So you are in good company. Again, it was never about deadlines or anything like that. There are so many other more important things in this world. A little too subtle on one of the sides when it came to their stripes. All right. Yes, then I'll go back and I'll finish up those last parts there. Tell you what, let's get these guys. Little fins all painted up. Got to duck out. Hope you have a great stream. Thank you. I love how colorful you're making the raptors. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I have a great time. Like I want my orcs to be kind of subdued, but the dinosaurs to be very loud. That's kind of how I'm approaching painting everything here. I'm a little bit constrained on what I can actually do just because of the fact that so much of this was already built and stuff like that. So I'm limited on how many nooks and crannies I can reasonably get to. But I am also liking them. I think they're turning out real fun. If I were to build my own set in the future, which I very well might, I mean, I have 2 of these, I could definitely use a 3rd. But I think that I would build less on a stand and certainly color them a bit differently. Basically to add them a little bit of variety, have like using number of dudes as a way to add variety in a very easy, simple way. At this point, everyone who's got exposed feathers that are not yet painted are getting them painted black. One, because I'm kind of over a unit that's going to be on the table for maybe 2 turns. You know, you gotta keep these things in perspective. Is that video TK to? Oh, is there going to be a deeper video? No, not really a deeper one on the pit per se. Although I certainly can, if you're curious. But that was really it for most of the chat. Okay, I'm gonna level with you. It's up to you guys. So I recorded a video, and then I've paused on editing it because I wasn't sure how I felt. So, as we all know, I don't talk about negative stuff on the channel. Not because I'm afraid of anything, but because it's not how I want to spend my time. And the Conquest event at Adepticon was a mixed bag. And I'm not... I don't know. I recorded a video explaining it, and then I was like, I don't even know if I really want to talk about it, actually. I had a panic attack round one because of some stuff going on around me, and I was just like, I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to. Just period. Just as a general, you know, that's how I feel about most things in my adult life. I don't know if I want that. I just thought I'd ask since I rewatched your... Oh, yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, they're just... for that one specifically, with the Witchborn event that I won the medal at, I felt like I started the game by taking a bunch of pictures, and so I have a few of like us at the bar before things started. But the minute the game really begins, which is whenever that bar fight kicks off to start the encounter, you have to be all in. Like it requires your attention. Your stuff's happening all over the board, and so I just put my camera away at that point. I was like, nah, I need to be here. But I would love to have Cody is the gentleman who makes the game and runs everything for it. I would love to have him on the channel for an interview to talk about it if that's something that interests you, because he was a really cool guy. He just basically he walked us through a game of the Pit, acting as our DM. Normally you would have a computer do it, but he basically just sat there and ran the tablet with all the rules and stuff like that for the purpose of making it easy. And then he would like narrate the scenes. Oh, so fun. Ooch, hope things get better there, Doug. Understandable, the internet's already full. Yeah. I mean, okay, how about this? There's nothing secret or scandalous. So how about this? You guys get to be my control group just for showing up. I'm going to tell you what happened and ask that you trust that I said it in a respectful way in my video, and you can decide if this is the thing that people would like to hear. Is random crap, because you guys vote. Let me know. To put it as a brief thing, in case you are curious, like as a top level, companies don't come out of the womb knowing how to run events, and it showed. I still had a good time, and I played against a whole bunch of really fun opponents, so I will make that abundantly clear. I have a lot of praise. But okay, we're 3 in. We got 3 left with our black color here. Nice. Like I said, there's nothing scandalous. I'm not going to talk crap about anybody. Plus, there's always a wait between when I say something and when you guys receive it, so... Okay, got some stripes. I'm really hoping that once I get the basing on these guys done, like, because the basing I think is going to be much more of a dark earth, that they will really pop off of it. I think that would be very exciting. All right, 2 left. Oh my God, we're getting there. Actually, need to add just a touch of water. whilst I am waiting for an answer for that, happy to move on to other stuff, or maybe people just don't want to hear about it. That's totally cool too. I have quite... Oh, I just finished priming up my... There's nothing wrong with constructive criticism. You're correct. And that's ultimately, at the end of the day, it's what it is. I guess I feel like, and this is a unique problem unto me, is that because I have a YouTube channel, if I offer advice in person and then go online to say I feel, again, feeling statement, like that is received as hypercritical, like not constructive. But that's not true, right? I'm still just a person with opinion. I just have a microphone. I have to tell myself that almost daily. It's whatever. Not like I'm a human too. Happy to hear about it. Okay, so yes, if we're all on board to approaching this, so essentially, if you were to go to Adepticon and sign up for the Conquest event, this is a series of cascading errors that are the responsibility of multiple people. So again, can't emphasize that enough. A lot of things went wrong. Points of failure, I guess you would say if you're an engineer. So you sign up for the thing, you pay $40, you got your one-day event. Well, then soon as we were coming towards Adepticon, we got an email saying, actually, we messed up, guys. It's meant to be a 2-day event. Please let us know if you are available to stay for the second day. Now, that's a rough ask at something like Adepticon, where every time, like, first of all, some people had already paid for other events, right? If it was only supposed to be Saturday, when everyone had trouble logging in, they logged in for what they thought was important. And they already had stuff, so some people were like really pissed about that. Oh, I'm paying for half a tournament? Not cool. There was no details. There was a start time of like, yeah, we're going to show up around 10. That's about it. There wasn't really a start time schedule. They wanted the missions to be blind, which is fine. But there's still other information. I made a tournament pack because I found out who the judge was right before the event, and so I reached out to them and was like, do you guys have an actual pack? And they said no. So I used my AOS Youngbloods one, which was a rousing success, to go ahead and make one for the Conquest guys. I did that. I mean, the reason they had a schedule is because I made it up. I was like, this doesn't work. You can't just have random times, not know when anything starts or finishes. And so I made a schedule for them, got them set up there, the army lists and stuff. It was just, so there's already that. There's already this dour mood because everyone who shows up is not getting what they thought they were paying for initially. Okay. But then, simple stuff that's easy to forget, like table numbers. If you just don't have someone who runs large events, which they didn't. I mean, they had someone who runs small events, which is cool, and I thank them for their time. Massive thank you to the guys who did organize the event. But like that kind of stuff where it's user interface. You scream table numbers. I don't know what the tables are. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know a thing. So that kind of stuff. But we figured out our tables. We got our pairings. Also, there was an entire pairing app that nobody was told about, and so some of the players were pissed about having to sign up for a new thing, which is fair. It should have been in the pack. And there should have been a pack. So after a late start, we kind of got ourselves set up. I was paired with a wonderful human being whose praises I will never stop singing as long as I am in this hobby, and you'll see why in a sec. So we get paired up, and we get to our tables, and then after me and my opponent had unpacked everything, we were informed that actually we were in the wrong table. Some of the Adepticon staff had come by and realized it's kind of one of those things like instead of the end tables on the left, we needed to be on the end tables on the right kind of a thing because they had overbooked space. So now all of our stuff's out and we have to move it all. which put me in a very flustered position because now I'm losing things. I can't find my resources. I pack it all up, move to the new place, which is now at the end of the aisle. So we're the last table before like one of the main thoroughfares. If you've been to Adepticon, they kind of block out these big wide areas for people to walk through. And the event organizers descend upon me. Okay, and what happened was, I found this out later, someone from the Adepticon staff, as they were telling them, like, hey, you guys are at the wrong tables, also told them, and also you need to move all this crap that's collecting on the outside of the table, meaning people were leaving their stuff right by where I was sitting. Okay, so what that meant was a whole bunch of TOs descending around me to move boxes, move things while I'm in the middle of moving my army, my resources, trying to unpack, measure objectives, and get a game. It was just too many people all up in my biz. So I had a little freak out, and so when I say freak out, I didn't like start swinging or anything like that. A freak out for me is I just take a deep breath and I walk away. And I put myself in a position where no one is gonna like harsh my mellow. And so I went out. No, I didn't like leave the convention or anything. I wasn't nearly that rude to my opponent. I just stepped outside of the immediate hall, found a little area where I had a little space, and just took a few deep breaths. And when I came back in, they were all gone, and we resumed. My opponent was, like I said, Andrew, the nicest human being, who I explained this all to him of like, I'm really freaking out. They were really all up in my grill. And he acknowledged he was such a great sport. When I have panic attacks, my ability to recall information becomes very depleted. And so, like, for example, I know how to play Conquest Last Argument of Kings, but you would have thought I had just taken, like, a demo of just like, okay, well, now we have to make our command decks. And he walked me through the first 2 turns as I kind of settled down and got my brain back together. So I can't say enough nice things. Unfortunately, because of all of that, we started our 2-hour round, which is not a lot of time for this game, pretty late. Pretty late, actually. So I ended up winning that one, but I felt crappy about it because I was, not that I was the reason we were late. There's a lot of reasons we were late that had nothing to do with me, but the last cherry on top was me needing to step out for a bit. Okay, then we're going to fast forward. So first round, I'm just going to say this. Every single one of my opponents was a blast. That's the thing is once the event got going and we were left the hell alone, I had a great time. Like all 3 games, morning, Bubba. Hey, Robin. So once the first round started, about halfway through it, that's when I was fully myself again. I felt like Doug. So we finished the first game. It was against Nords. Andrew, like I said, can't say enough nice things. Second round was against Dweg Home. So it was a mirror match because I brought my Dweg. I got stuffed in a locker real hard. That guy went on to be, I think, 3rd place of the entire event of 40-something people. So, like, no shame. But I got dumpstered. Third game was against 100 Kingdoms. And he's actually a semi-local guy. He lives in the Quad Cities with me. And we play, I think, at just about every single Conquest event. They run one like every other month here at one of the stores in Cedar Rapids. And it was funny because we brought a very similar list to what we have always played. But every single time we played before, he trashes me because he has 100 Kingdoms and he just brings walls of dudes and cavalry. And this time his reinforcement rolls betrayed him in the most heinous of ways. And so, poor dude didn't have an army. And I was able to just sit back and, like, pick him off with impunity. The next one... So, yeah, that was day 1. And at day 1, they basically divided the group into 2 and said, like, here's the people who are staying for the next day. Here's the people who are leaving. Like, they decided they're just going to drop the event rather than continue because of all the scheduling issues. Totally fine. Side note. Okay. I'm going to chalk this up as a misunderstanding of intent, but the Parabellum crew handed all the folks who dropped out as a way of saying thank you, like someone opened the command card pack for the Wadroon, and then they had like some of the people on staff like sign the cards. Which was not the kind of prizes apparently that some of the folks wanted. There was a lot of grumbling at the end there, but I gravitated away, hung out with people who were gonna stay and, you know, have a reason to be positive. It was on day 2. We get there. The tables have flipped, meaning what was number 1 is now number 8, and so on. For really no discernible reason. But again, without table numbers, it's a big deal. So there's confusion about where to get started. We got started. I had 2 awesome games. One where I got dumpstered. One where I did the dumpstering. One of my faves of the weekend was a Wadroon list where it was my last game, the 5th one, where the guy brought 4 apex predators, the big T-Rexes. 4 of them. It's the most you can have in a list as far as I can tell. There might be a way to get 5th if you just really hurt yourself, but it's reasonably what you're going to be seeing. So, hot diggity. And it was an absolute blast. I had a great time. And it was at the end of the second round when I thought we were all done, just chilling, waiting for, the trophies and the praise. I was informed that there was actually a super secret 6th round because of the way that people dropped with the format and everything on the previous day. There had to be one more round to determine a true winner. And now at this point, not only has this gone from 1 day to 2 day, but now you're going from 5 round to 6 round. And I was there for other reasons. I had other people I wanted to meet, stuff to do, and so I was like, you guys, you asked too much. I'm done. I just stepped out. Which I know they're not upset about, but I am, because it's I wanted to finish it. Just like all those people felt on the first day, I came back the second and I wanted to finish the event and I couldn't. But also, when they seem very blasé about oh yeah, you don't have to go to the second one, it's fine. But the thing is that all those people who stayed when they weren't intending to missed something. For example, if I had stayed for that last round, I could not have gone to the Witchborn event, which is the only medal that I brought home. Okay, and I had more importantly is I had a wonderful time, but the thing is with events like Adepticon, every time is the actual thing, and you can't get more of it. That's the resource what you're asking from players when you go from 1 day to 2 day, 5 day to 6. You're asking them more and more time, and it's bruh. Games Workshop can fart in an empty room and people would run in with $10 bills and jars to collect it. You're not there yet. You need to be conscious of other people and what they sign up for. I don't know. It's just... There was nothing that couldn't be fixed with communication and planning. Right? The players weren't a dick. It's not like the format didn't work for anything, because I look at some game systems like the Crusade 40K stuff when they do narrative events. I think Crusade is just a super clunky, massive bolt-on system that adds nothing. So why would I want to do an event of that? It doesn't work well as an event. It does great in your local store, but not when you're crushing 9 rounds back to back to back. It's a lot to keep track of. So it's not a fundamental game problem. It was a communication issue. Doesn't mean it didn't suck. Yeah. I don't know. So I felt like it was a very unsatisfying conclusion. But that night actually ended up being great. Like I said, I played Witchborn, my buddy Dan. We had a great time. My orc got lucky at a bar. It was great. High fives all around. But it's man, it was good in spite of that event, not because of it. And that's a really rough feeling to walk away from at Adepticon, because it's read the room, man. Every company's bringing their A game. You at the big leagues. This is the big boys table. But anyway, so it was just like everything that kind of could go wrong with the user experience of what you think is going to happen when you sign up to an event at Adepticon. It failed on a lot of those levels. You know, does that mean that nobody had fun? Absolutely not. Tons of people had fun. I was one of them. But like I said, all of the issues could be solved with communication, and part of it is you don't know what you don't know, right? I mean, these companies they've been to Adepticon, but like their last one was I think 8 to 12 people. And this year it was like jumped from 47. It's like, I don't expect you to just be good at this. I do expect you to apologize. Boom. There we go. I don't know. It just the relaxed approach of the PB team. And I know part of it is that I'm an American and we focus on time too much. And I'm like, what do you mean we're 15 minutes late? We might as well die. And they're Greek and they're like, island time. Oh, man. I'm sure, and I have no doubt that was part of it. They're like, hey, you know, it's whatever. People are going to come, they're going to go, they're going to sign up, they're going to play. We're selling lots of models. We have a painting contest. It's going great. Meanwhile, I'm looking at like the actual impact of these things. I'm like screaming, but that's why I don't have a job there. I did send them, I will say, like I had a great talk with the people at Parabellum and their marketing team. They are so cool to work with and very receptive. And I sent them an email, like I made an Amazon shopping list. I was like, these are the things you need. You got a megaphone, you got table numbers, you got all the like oh man. Corpus Monkey, yes, I'm sorry, you didn't know that I just said that. There's a time delay. But yeah, I did email them. I mean, and I had my concerns and I laid it out there, and I said, if not only, here's how I worded it, okay, to be constructive. The way that I put the email was, here's the issues that I saw. Here are the practical things that you can purchase that will immediately make it better. Table numbers, that kind of stuff, right? A tournament pack, whatever. Immediately make it better. But in addition to that, here are some proactive things that you can do for your company in the future. And what I mean by that is, if you're not going to hire someone to go out and run all of your conventions, I understand there's a lot of conventions. They're an international company. That's a crap ton of travel money. I get it. If you're not going to do that, you need some way to make sure that all of your event organizers, who may or may not be volunteers, are on the same page. Like literally, like from on high, every aspect of how this event should run should be on the same page. Everyone should be on board and know what they're doing and what's expected of them. And by that I mean, make a playbook. Say like, here's what I took pictures of. What's the event? Holy Havoc that Steve Herner runs, the big narrative one. If you've never been to Holy Havoc, they have a whole bunch of weird terrain. Okay, like they do custom stuff, and it's just so fun. They have all crazy rules, all over the place, everything. Great time. But what he does as an aid for players who are new to his events, who might not have walked up and just been born knowing who Steve Herner is, there's basically an aerial photo of the table already set up. So first of all, you can tell where terrain is supposed to start on the board, so you know where everything's supposed to be. And it has just tiny text just telling you, hey, this is forest, this is impassable, this is whatever, I said, do you guys realize if you do that, not only could tables be more transparent because we had some trouble understanding what they were supposed to be, but also you as the parent company get to control the conversation about what your tables are supposed to be like. And that's a good thing. Like when you sell terrain kits, say, hey, here's a free PDF to be like, build tournament ready terrain tables stuff. I don't know. I tried to load it up with very practical things and be like, and here's why this is a good idea. Whether or not they take it, that's up to them. I'm not going to follow up. I'm not going to hound them. It's their business. And if they don't take the advice, I'll run my own events and do the old Steve Martin trick of being so good they can't ignore you. Right? That's the idea. If you haven't heard that, I'm super rambly at this point now. I'm just having a great time painting in a Zen mode, so I hope you guys are along for the ride. Steve Martin was once asked, or he's been asked multiple times what the key to success is, and that's what he always tells people is, be so good they can't ignore you. These are things that will get better as the company grows. Absolutely. Yep. That's exactly, and that's why I was like, do I want to make a video about it? Because while I agree that constructive criticism is always okay, I do. It's like, well, if I already sent them an email about practical steps, and I know from personal experience, not only that like this could be better, but like it will be better. There's just stuff they just didn't know they didn't know. Do I need to make a video on it? And so that's kind of where I got stuck, where it's like, how harshly do I judge them? I don't know. You see my conundrum now, right? And even if, I don't know, I might hold off on this one. I'll do the next one. Just doesn't feel right. I don't feel jazzed. You know what I mean? Oh. Oh, hot diggity. I just broke my brush. I was snapping shut the lid. And my, immaculate Citadel brush that I've beat the crap out of for several years and have left sitting in paint water almost daily because it's my mixing brush has shattered. That's fun. Still great at mixing paint though, that's all that matters. That being said, I would love another Witchborn video. If that's about the pit or anything else, I'd be interested. Same goes for Yevsiga. Yeah, I'm very interested in Yevsiga. I still am waiting for any of the Black Site Studio guys to ever like acknowledge me. Pretty soon I have a chat about hobgoblins coming up. I have an interview with Mike Hutchinson. But yeah. Dang, too strong. I know, right? Yeah. Just me snapping a paintbrush. I'm built different. That was funny. It's right at, there's a line where like you can see paint crusted up because I would leave it leaning on the edge of the water glass, and that's what weakened it. We were here to witness the snap. Yes. Snap heard round the world. Yeah, I've never seen Doug get angry before, but he was talking about a Conquest event, and he went full Thanos on his paintbrush set. It's just one brush. I just noticed all of a sudden the brush got real light in my hands because most of it wasn't being held by me. I'm so excited about these guys. I'll have at least one or two more layers to go when this is all done, just to kind of clean up some bits, but I mean they're mostly done. Whenever it's like models like this that are like already built and painting them, I know is going to be difficult. I definitely have a, we'll say a different standard to how, when I'm willing to call it done. It's like, oh, it looks barely functional. Sold. Oh, no question. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. It got buried. Based on what you said here, I agree with not doing a video. Yeah. But, like, first of all, I deeply appreciate everyone understanding why that was a point of contention on why I would do the video. But I agree. I think it's like there are negative things to say, but all of them are immediately fixable. And it's like, what does complaining add, right? So I might do a video that specifically talks about some games that I played, but I don't know. Even then, because everyone was in such a haste to download the tournament software, there's a bunch of lists that just aren't there because they didn't know they had to upload them. So it kind of makes the whole idea discussing it kind of a bit of a moot point. Okay, if I want to start if I wanted to start solid with Nords, what is my shopping list? Okay, so Robin, this requires a bit of Q&A. The main question is, what models draw you to the Nords? Because the way Conquest, I can't recall if you already play or not. I'm sorry. The way Conquest works with list building is that you have to pick a hero who has access to those particular troops. So if you like Nords because of, say, monsters, which is like, you know, rock and roll, heck yeah, dude, that's why I'm here. Then I would look at a hero called the Conan Gear. He is the one who unlocks most of the hero or monsters. He's kind of like a half genetic reject himself that's able to command beasts. You know, same, there's, yeah, if you want trolls, I would go with I think he's the Stalker. Let me double check on the name there. But so my point is just tell me what you want to focus on and we can point you in some directions. But because of the nature of list building and Conquest, it kind of depends on, you have to know where you want to go. Vikings. Okay. You just want Vikings. Vikings on Vikings. Let me see. They just announced a whole set of one-player starter sets. And I can't, off the top of my head, recall what's in the Nord one. Let me finish this one base here. Just so I can get a sense of what these guys look like when they're not on a white base. Sometimes it helps the colors pop. Yeah, I think they look pretty good. I'll probably hit them with one more highlight on the very, very tops of stuff just to kind of make it have a little bit more depth. But this is the basic idea of what they're all going to look like. Okay. Robin, let me see. So I'm going to pull up the army builder. We're going to do a shared screen. We're going to answer this in real time. Oops. Please pay no attention to the infinity screen. Okay. So straight up, if you want basic dudes, okay, Vikings. Yeah, if you've already spoken. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Luckman. Jarl. So if you scroll down to his entry, obviously you have all your stats, special rules, and stuff like that. If you scroll down, you can see mainstay and restricted. The way that army building works in Conquest is in a series of warbands. You pick a hero, and they have to have at least one mainstay with them that they can join. So all of these guys are like on foot. He can walk with them. Attach a hero to the unit, and they're good to go. For every mainstay that you have, you can take one restricted option. So if you had 2 units of raiders, then you could take 2 options of restricted if you wanted in any combination. The only limits are that you can only have 4 regiments per warband. So you have your hero in one of them, and then 4 regiments below them. So the Jarl is all about the basics of Vikingness. Raiders are your cheap chaff. Huskarls are your more elite infantry. Think Marauders versus Chaos Warriors if you come from a Warhammer background. Ogre are their ogres, so a great way to spice in some heavy lifting. Most of these other options are actually not out yet. For example, the Berserks, I think, are supposed to be coming out in the next year, hopefully, I guess. But they're like werebears. Blade Chosen, Mountain Jotnar is certainly one that people take for him, and it's pretty easy to get your hands on one. Let's actually go to this store. Like I said, they have a starter set. I think their starter sets always end up on the last page. Yeah, there we go. What do you got? Okay, 1 Blooded, 3 Ogre, 3 Fenrir Beast Pack, Stalkers, Trolls. Okay, so, yes, hero plus 4 slots next to block. Yep, exactly. So, great start there. And so, what I would say from there is look at the store and pick out your favorite regiments, okay? So, look at the models, whichever ones you like, then go back to the heroes, and then pick out there. Your question here, 1 hero, 2 choices minimum to a warband? Nope, it's just 1 and 1. If you wanted to have, for example, a popular combination is this hero called the Volva. She is a basically a wizard witch, like a forest snow witch type deal. And she has a warband, the Valkyries. She can just take her and a single regiment of Valkyries. She's in that regiment, and that's it. That's a whole warband. I do that actually in my Dweg home with their priest guy. I put him in a regiment of just shield boys. It's like, just, you have one job, keep him safe. So you can have as many warbands as you want, as you can fit. There's no limit on that. It's just, the only limits are who can take what. If you are, so she has probably the weakest roster because she's, again, a powerful spellcaster. She is the reason you take her warband rather than a unit you're trying to unlock. Valkyries are freaking awesome, by the way, if you are looking at having a whole bunch of like various different kinds of Vikings. That regiment of a single Volva plus the Valkyries is pretty cool. Like, they're pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. So those are great options to start with if you want infantry heavy stuff. Where you get into the stranger things like the starter set, they give you the Blooded. So what this basically means, his mainstay, the units he can walk around with, are going to be things like ogres and trolls, and white waste tribesmen don't exist yet, but whatever. And then for his restricted, you can see all the different beasts and stuff like that. Essentially, they give you a complete warband for the Blooded when you buy the starter set. So we'll look at that again here. 1 Blooded, that's the hero. 3 ogres, so that's 1 regiment of ogres. Again, big beefy boys. 1 regiment of trolls, so that's 2 mainstays for the Blooded. And then you also get stalkers and a beast pack. Which... Huh. Wait, really? Wait, really? Stop. Oh, okay. For some reason, my brain was just skipping stalkers right there. I was like, why the hell did they give you a regiment you couldn't use? Okay, yes. So you have a whole bunch of different cool base options. So definitely a route that you could go if you just wanted to dip your toe in is grab this starter set. It's actually not a bad deal. Because not only do you get the warband that we talked about. Again, it's a complete warband. It's 3 mainstays and 1 restricted, with a hero that is probably one of their coolest heroes. And then you get the 2 rule books, one for Last Argument of Kings, the rank and flank, and the other one for First Blood, the skirmish version. So I like the idea of an all-in-one complete warband. I'll be the first to admit I love the trolls. I'm a sucker for them, so... Anyway, that's pretty much the advice that I have. So the Konungir is great if you want the big stompies. He has access to all the Jotnars. Blooded is kind of your mid-tier monsters and beasts and stuff. Jarl, Shaman, and Volva are all about basic bros. So that's how I would help you get through that. Let me know if that was helpful, and again, if there are any Nord players in the chat, do not hesitate to hop in and offer advice. I can offer advice when it comes to purchases, but when it comes to like the tactical side of things, that's kind of where I will say falter. But yes, does anybody else have any? Oh, I may have thinned the paint a bit too much. It's kind of leaking off like water. Thank you for kicking in the right direction. Oh, you got it, buddy. Yeah, it's very different to army building in other games, but once you kind of figure it out, you know, what unit do I want, or what synergy do I want, who can take them, is basically your math, right? Like that's most of it. But anyway, friends, I think, what are we at, hour 40? Yeah, I think this is as good a time as any to hop off for the day. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I will catch you all very, very soon in my next video I have coming out. I have a few regarding hobby industry and Games Workshop and all kinds of cool stuff. So thank you all so much. I will catch you in my next video. Happy wargaming, friends.